really think fans of comic books and Ninja Turtles can really enjoy this episode. Welcome back to Radio Shack, and today we have another episode recap for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and today's episode is really fun. Probably one of the funnest episodes I've seen in a long time. But without further ado, let's get into it. Bat in the Belfry. But we start today's episode and we see the Turtles just hanging out in the lair, and they're kind of discussing who has the better comic book. We see Mikey, who's reading Wingnut and Screw Loose, which is a reference to Batman, and we have Leo talking about Arachnid Man, Spider-Man, and the Indelible Bulge, Incredible Hulk. But Raph ends up talking about the Fantastic Four food groups, which is the Fantastic Four. But that was just all fun, a great reference to all the comic books, and it just really put a smile on my face when that happened. But we go into Donnie's lab and we see April's really not feeling well. She hasn't really felt well since they got back home from space, and Donnie wants to examine the crystal because that may be responsible for what's happening, but April does not want to take it off, and she really gets a real attitude about it. But she ends up giving it up, and Donnie examines it with his staff that he got from the Fugitoid, and he kind of electrocutes it, and this power entity comes out, and it ends up affecting Mikey's Wingnut comic book. But we get to see Casey, who finds a character from the Wingnut comic book attacking the city, and he texts the images to Raph, and they find out that it's Monoculus from the Wingnut comic book, and everyone doesn't believe it. They end up going to fight Monoculus and take it down, but everyone has questions like where exactly that thing come from. But Mikey explains that it came from the Wingnut comic book, and April's crystal brought it to life. But they don't believe him, and we seem to go back into that little trend that every time Mikey's right about something, no one ever listens. But Mikey goes to go steal the crystal from Donnie's lab, and he brings it to show Casey exactly what he's talking about, because he doesn't believe him. So he tries to use it, but it doesn't work at first. But Mikey remembers that they electrocuted the crystal, but Casey electrocutes Mikey, and it ends up working and bringing Wingnut and Screw Loose out. And Wingnut and Screw Loose end up thinking that Mikey is one of their tortoise villains, and they try to take him down, but they end up figuring out that they're not villains. So they end up going on patrol, and it is Return of Turflytle Buzz. So they go on patrol. We get this little montage of them taking down a couple villains, and you get to see a bunch of fun references to the Batman '66 television series. It was really fun. But they get ready to take down this villain called Scully, I believe, and they take him down, and Mikey and Wingnut end up teaming up to take him down. Wingnut and Screwless end up seeing that Mikey and Casey know a lot about them, and they don't understand why. And they're trying to explain to them that they're not real people. They're actually characters from a comic book, and they don't believe them. And Mikey shows them the crystal, and they end up taking it and taking down Mikey and Casey, and steal it and use the crystal to empower themselves to make them more powerful. So meanwhile at the lair, we see that April goes on a little rampage because she sees that her crystal is gone and is mad at Donnie for losing it. So she ends up tearing down his lab and all that stuff, and Master Splinter comes in and stops her. He tries to advise her not to use the crystal anymore because she's kind of using it as a crutch, and it's not really doing anything good for her. But the others end up getting in contact with Casey and Mikey, and they're trying to figure out where the crystal is. And Mikey explains that he stole it, and he brought Wingnut and Screwloose to life with it, and now that they have it. And they don't believe him. So we see Mikey and Casey break into Wingnut's hideout, and we see that Wingnut and Screwloose are trying to make themselves more real after they get to figure out how the crystal works. But Casey and Mikey get caught, and Casey gets thrown out the window, and we see Raph save him with their new packs that use the cables to shoot him up left and right and all that stuff, the little grappling hooks. And they end up using this bell to distract Wingnut and Screwloose because they have sensitive hearing. and they end up stopping him. April gets the crystal back and uses her power to send them back to where they belong. So Donnie is trying to figure out exactly what's going on with the crystal, because it's really messing with April, and she's starting to get really possessive and starting to act like the Gollum character for Lord of the Rings. So this was a really fun episode. I mean, it didn't really further any stories besides April's arc with the crystal, but it was just an all-out fun filler episode. And it was great to see all this comic book nerdiness come into this episode. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was really fun, but can't wait to get back to some other stories. We're gonna be on break for a little bit, so I gotta figure out exactly what I'm gonna do for the next 2 weeks. I think I have an idea. But if you enjoyed this episode, comment below, let me know what your favorite parts were. If you have any idea what else I should post, if there's some more CW superhero news that comes out, comment below, let me know. If you liked the vid, hit the like button, and especially if you enjoyed my recap/review, and if you're a fan of Ninja Turtles, Power Rangers, all the superhero stuff, all that jazz, hit that subscribe button, especially if you're new and enjoy that content. Previous video will be down in the link below, and until my next video, I will see you later.